Okie dokie. Starting on the floor, last workout of the month plus 2 weeks. Starting with that leg straight, hips stacked, top leg up. Try to bring your heel, your toes and your knee as close to the floor as you can, and then stretch back without losing that stacked hip position. Really working hip mobility, internal, external, working all the muscles, a lot of muscles that influence the pelvic floor. Get control over these movements. You can master the universe. Let's do 2 more. And 2. Good. I love the way it feels like it's waking up that part of my hip. I don't think there's any other stretch that quite gets that area. Okay, flipping around to side 2. Setting up, stacking your hips, bending the top leg, and coming over and stretching back. Let's do a couple more. Reaching forward and reaching back, reaching forward and reaching back. Okay, let's come on to our back. Take a moment and stretch your legs straight and kind of notice if you're shifted one way or the other. You can feel where your ankle bones are, where your toes are, if they're touching, if they're lined up or not. Let's go for a nice big pencil stretch. And then draw those legs in, bring your arms out to the side, and take your feet a little wider than your hips. And we'll go side to side, come back to center, lift up into a bridge. Switching directions, side to side, center, and bridge. 3, 4. So I'm going to try to remember to alternate the direction I'm going in with my knees. Right, left, then left, right. Not for anything, it gives your brain something to think about when you're doing this. If you try to copy me, you'll find that I'm not perfect either. The last one. And let's bring your legs up into tabletop. Let your back go nice and flat on the floor. In fact, if you're getting a nice stretch in your low back, just kind of hang out here for a second before we stretch it. Let's rock side to side. And then we're going to bring our legs back up over our hips or slightly in front of our hips, arms out to the side. And windshield wiper down to one side, keeping your shoulder on the floor, and up, down to the other side. Shoulder stays on the floor. You're going as far as you can go, keeping your shoulders nice and stable, which means if your shoulder wants to pop up and you're letting your shoulders pop up and your knees go down, you're rolling around on the floor and not getting at what I intended, which is a rotational movement with shoulder stability. Let's keep the shoulders nice and stable. Keep them glued to the floor. Let's go one more time to the other side. And come up. Tug your knees in. I don't know what I was doing this week, but my low back is saying, oh, you worked. So here we go. Bound bug. Hand on opposite knee. If it feels weird, it feels like it's hard to reach, use a block, use a ball. And actually, that might help increase what you're feeling. Let's take arm and leg up and out to the opposite side. We're going for 10 on each side. And remember, you're only lowering as far as you can keep your back on the floor. I want you to maintain that tension between that hand and knee that are in contact. And switch sides. Back. We're back down. 2 more. Last one. Woo. Give your abs some love. Stretch your arms out and over. And let's take one leg up, cross your body, and roll it over. We're going to take that leg up again and kick back and roll it over again. So you're on your back. We're going to do this in both directions. One leg up, reach across your body, let it pull you and roll you over. You're going to pick that leg up and reach, and roll yourself over. As you're doing these, we're going to do this a couple more times. Imagine you can't use your arms. So we're going to take our leg up and just moving that lower body, let the weight of your lower body pull you over, lift up, reach back, and roll back the other way. Take your time with this. I've been doing them a long time. I go a little faster. Find where your center of gravity is. Use your leg to change where your body is pulling, where the pull on your body is coming from is the better way to say it. So let that long lever of your leg pull your body over, and then lifting up. You might push off your other leg. I didn't say you couldn't do that. Just don't use your arms. I think next month we'll spend a little time working on upper body rolling, because that's a whole lot harder than lower body rolling. That's kind of fun when you realize what you can do with just your feet rolling over. Not just your feet, just your legs. Okay, let's come on to hands and knees. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Let's go for 6 rotations, checking in with how your back is feeling. And switch sides. And let's come back to hands and knees. Let's do our pelvic tilts. Trying to move just the tailbone. If you see mid back moving, it's along for the ride, whether it wants to be or not. The middle back likes to be a good helper. And then let's go to the upper back. We're going to protract the shoulder blades, raise your back, your upper back up to the ceiling and tuck your chin. And then reverse that, bring your shoulder blades into your spine as your crown of your head comes up. Let's do that 3 more times. And then back to the middle back. It's like pulling your bottom of your ribs, pulling them up and letting them come back down. See if you can isolate just that middle part of your back. It's not easy. It likes to be with its, the upper and the lower. Good. So let's tuck our tailbones, ground through your lower back, pull up through the middle back, protract through your upper back, and tuck your chin. Big breath here. Let your spine stretch, your back stretch and expand. Exhale, lift the crown of the head. Let your shoulder blades start to come together. And as that upper back extends, let the middle back extend into the lower back and up to the tailbone. Let's do that one more time. Tucking, articulating all the way through your middle back, pressing through your upper back into that chin tuck. Big breath here, expand and stretch through your back. And then on the exhale, take your head up. Don't lose your tailbone. Let your shoulders come together. Let your middle back come together or start to extend. Let your low back extend. And then tailbone. And then let's do it all together. It feels very different, articulating versus moving your spine as one unit. And then let's sit back on our knees or kneel up on your knees, whatever's more comfortable for you, and circle out your wrists. Maybe back on hands and knees, let's point your fingers towards your knees and give your wrists a little stretch this way. So the more forward your weight is, the more weight's on your wrist, but the more you pull back, the more the stretch goes up your forearm. We're going to come down onto our elbows and do some dolphin to plank. So find your plank, pike your hips up into dolphin. My feet are sliding a little bit. Lift those hips up, release through your shoulders, and come back to your plank. 2, 3, and 5. Coming all the way down. Let's bring your hands by your shoulders or your chest. Press your feet into the floor and lift yourself up and shift your weight side to side. If you are on your wrist now, curl your toes under, come into a plank, and take one foot towards that hand on the same side. And let's hang out here on this lunge here. It feels better to be on your knuckles. You can do this on your knuckles. It might make you feel a little bit more or less balanced, maybe less balanced. Just being optimistic. And let's drop that back knee down and up. We're just moving the back knee, lowering down and up, waking up the quads. And then we're going to start coming up and trying to straighten the front leg a little bit also. So your back leg's going to stay straight. Front leg is bending and extending. And then coming back into that high lunge, hands on both sides. Let's walk our feet to the middle. Maybe let's walk our feet in just a little bit and enjoy that forward fold. Make sure I'm still on camera here. There we are. Take your hands onto your knees and sink down into a squat. So we're just going to shift side to side, still working those little thigh muscles. And relative to the quads, the ones that run down the inside of your thigh, they are little thigh muscles. And they're important. So sink down into that squat, reach for the floor, 3 bottoms up, 2, 3, and 3 squat. Raise your arms up and stand. So we're going to fold, squat, reach, and stand. Last time, fold, squat, reach, and stand. And before we do more legs, hands back on knees, let's drop your shoulders. Stretch out your upper back a little more. Let's do 2 more. 1 and 2. We'll bring our hands down over towards our other foot and stretch back into that high lunge. We're going to drop that knee down and lift it up. And then we'll try adding that front leg. So we're focusing more on what the front leg is doing than what the back leg is doing. And back to center, hands on knees. And roll it up. Back up to standing, let's roll our shoulders and swing our arms. And then let's twist. And let's prance just a little bit. Swing up our ankles. Don't hate me. We have a little bit of plyo coming. And then find your balance. And let's do our ankle wiggles. See if you can find that control in the lower part of your leg. Keep your toe down and your foot going side to side. Doesn't have to be fast. It can be slow. Just find that control. And let's go over to the other side. Nice. Balance is the challenge, right? Circle your ankles out. Let's get that plyo part over with. We're gonna do, I think what I've learned this month is we need to do more single leg work. Not necessarily plyo. We definitely can even up our legs and our ankles a little bit more. So we're gonna start with bouncing on single leg. And really this is it. So I'm gonna hold on for balance. You can hold on for balance. Just one finger on a wall, a couple of fingers on a chair. No death grips. And we're gonna sink that knee down and up and just see if we can get kind of bouncy on one leg. And then let's see if we can come up to a heel raise. I'm doing my non-dominant side first, so it feels hard, really hard. And then let's take off the brakes and see if we can get 6 good hops off that non-dominant leg. And if you're hopping like a pogo stick, more power to you. If you're not, hang with me. Good. And when I see you stop moving, we will switch sides. Okay. So side 2, just kind of finding that springiness. Oh, so much easier on the side. Spring, spring, spring. When you have injuries on one side, all your muscles want to tighten up and stabilize, and they just don't have that spring. My right leg has no injury. My left leg has a couple of knee injuries. And boy, oh boy, as you get harder, it's harder to loosen that up. Let's come up onto your heel, sink down, lift up, down and up. Lift that heel. No jumping yet. Okay, let's take the brakes off and see what it feels like to do some jumps on this side. So hop, propel yourself off your toes. It even feels different. Try to hold one position than to spring off and land to the other foot like we do when we do speed skaters. So let's circle out our ankles, call it good. Grab a weight, a nice big heavy weight. We're gonna do our deadlifts around the world. And then we'll do our split stance rotations. So if you're a little wider than your hips go back and down, and we'll come up and around. 2 more. Then holding the weight, finish your rep. Whatever hand it's in, you're going to take that leg back on the same side. And as we lower down, we're going to turn ever so slightly. Not your legs, not your feet, not your toes. Just your upper body. Rotate towards that front leg. Come up and rotate away. And see if you can keep your toes from triangulating on you. Take it down and come up. You really can't do this very fast. So your hips are going to stay pretty forward. What you're doing by rotating your body is forcing that hip on the back leg, actually both hips, to go into internal and external rotation without moving your hips. It's kind of wild, huh? And let's switch sides. So sink it down, just get used to that split squat as you come down. Turn towards the front leg and away. If you need to use a mirror to see what your toes are doing, good. Let's do 2 more. Let's put that weight down. Grab a sip of water. Let your legs recover. We'll get into the meat of the workout. Take your arms out. Swing your legs. I'm losing my balance already. See, I'm getting, excuse me, a million messages. It's like every mother's worst nightmare going on this trip. 3 weeks ago, we were told the air quality was bad in Virginia from the Canadian fires. These videos are like a little time capsule, right? I tell you all these stories, and it's like just for this point in time. 3 weeks ago, she said the air quality was bad. Her pediatrician said not to take the baby. So if air quality index was over 100, the baby shouldn't be there. Of course, in the Bay Area, she's gotten worse air quality for a variety of reasons and the fires. But the weather cleared up, the air quality cleared up, and the air quality was beautiful until yesterday. It went from healthy to moderate. And then today it went from moderate to unhealthy. And she flew in last night. So she's in Virginia with unhealthy air quality, starting to panic. It's like, oh, I feel so bad. It's like every mother's worst nightmare. You plan and plan and plan, and then you have no control. So we are going to do our bent over kickstand, kick back to a narrow press, kick back, narrow press. And then I need to come up with a simpler workout for next month so I can remember it. There are too many elements this month. Curtsy lunge with the side raise. We're going to go for a heavy 1-arm row. And then we have our little Irish dance, karaoke, whatever coming up. So find the weights that work for you. We're doing a kickstand to an overhead press. I'm gonna shift this just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So moving with your hips, keeping your abs nice and tight. Find that hinge, elbows up, rotate back, down, and up. You need to go lighter. We're gonna go 18 to 20. I gotta go lighter. So if you're going heavier, we're gonna go 8, maybe up to 15 if you can. 12 to 15. If you're going light, we're going 18 to 20. And since there are very few people, there's only one person on with me this morning. If you're doing this on your own, just pause the video and count for yourself. If nothing else, we'll all know that we can count to 20. That was 10. Nice. Good, working through your hips. Last one. Good work. Something happens when you get to 15. And I don't think it's psychological because at least I've been drilled and so many of us have been drilled. 12 to 15 reps is perfect. There's something about going past 15 that takes you out of your mental comfort zone, out of your muscles comfort zone, where you're just pushing a little bit farther where the magic happens. So just this once, this month, stay with me. Let's get past 15, see if we can get to 20, and see if you can feel the difference. And if you can, then you know for sure you need to increase your weights, and we'll do lower reps. But let's do our curtsy lunges. We're gonna go for 16, so that we get 8 even on each side, okay? So we're gonna curtsy down, come up, that's 1, 2, 3, 13, good job, 14, 15, and 16. And after that first set, 16 is just right. My shoulders are done. Done, 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 done. So lighter weights down. Let's find your heavy weight. And we'll get set up for doing our 1 arm row. Let's take another 15, 20 seconds and let your arms and your shoulders recover just a little bit more. Okay, again, we're going to go anywhere from 15 to 20. Start non-dominant. Start with your weaker side. Whatever your weaker side can do will match with your stronger side. Count on our own. Turn around when you're ready. You're wondering, what happened to the band section? I forgot it, but let's not dwell on that. We'll come back to it at the end. Find core and mobility, so we'll finish up with that. And when you're done, you're done. Let's shake those arms out. Give yourself a big hug. Let your back round. Stretch those muscles you just worked. Okay, your choice. Keep the little Irish dancing jig like, I don't know what I'm talking about. This kind of movement, or work across the floor. And a grapevine is nice and loose and wide, crossing front, crossing behind. Carioca is that same movement, tightened up. So there's a little bit more hip movement. Your choice, keep it like this or make it moving. We're gonna go for about 40 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1. And excuse me if I go out of range. Light on your ankles, light on your feet, curl twinkle toes. We have about 10 more seconds. Three, 2, and 1. Bring it down. Oh my goodness. Turn all those notifications off. The notifications are still coming. Sorry. You can't see them. I'm sorry, it's a distraction for me. Here we go. Hips out, pop, pop, pop. We're going to go through all of that one more time. And I am completely disoriented looking at the time, thinking about where we usually are at this time, being 15 minutes ahead. So we're going to go through all that one more time, do our second set on the floor one more time, or 2 more times if we can, and get in that band section because it's so good for our core. And we'll finish with that. So let's get our weights for our kickbacks to the overhead press. So hinging back. Second set. Survival. If you get past 15, I'm proud of you. Just check in. Make sure that when you're lifting, you're not flaring those ribs out and arching your back. Try to keep your ribs set right over your pelvis. Can't do that. Focus on the kickback and don't worry about the overhead press. Remember, you're pushing back with your hips to reach the wall behind you. Not just bending from the waist. Do one more for good measure. And hang on to the weights. And rest one hand on the thigh. Let the other hand angle down. And let the weight circle out your shoulder. Stretch it out. And let's go the other way. And switch sides. Circle. And reverse. Nice loose open shoulder joint. Pull everything back in, stand it up. Let's go for our curtsies. So sinking down, Coming up to a lateral raise. 2. Nice. 6. Good job. Oh, these are getting harder. And bend your elbows. So let's do one more each side. And put those weights down. Swing it out. Take the tension out of your neck. Roll your shoulders. Grab a drink. Mini recovery before we ask back to work again. Going about 10 seconds. Five seconds. Starting non-dominant. Survival. Do what you can do. 1. Pull with your back. Don't rely on just your arms. Pull that shoulder blade in towards your spine. Work with your breath. And you might notice, second set, you don't quite as high as you did on the first set. A-okay. Turn around when you're ready. Do side 2. And I'll meet you all facing the screen when you're done. Nice. Looks good. Okay, 40 seconds here. We'll go in 5 seconds. Yeah. Whatever floats your boat for this movement. Bouncy, not bouncy. I'm going to do 20 seconds one way, 20 the other. Join me or do your own thing. Or walk off camera and I'll never know what you're doing. Since most of you are doing this not live, I really don't know what you're doing. Let's switch sides. Five more seconds. Right. It's a few more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's shake those hips out. Give yourself a hand. We are going to be down on the floor, but we get a little break. So grab a drink of water. Bring your water on the floor with you. We have it's just one movement with weights where we're locked in lower body and we're just isolating the shoulders. So we'll do our overhead shoulder press from a half kneeling position. And then we have our straight leg raises, which cramps everybody's quads. Everybody's, you're not alone. We're gonna do push up to shoulder tap on the floor or on an incline, and a side plank variation. I'm kind of become very fond of those rainbow planks that we've been doing, where you make an arc with the top leg over the bottom leg. But we'll figure it out when we get there. So half kneeling overhead press. Go as heavy as you can. This is not a 15 to 20 repetition move. We also don't have time to do a lot of 15 to 20 repetition moves. We're going to come into half kneeling, pressing your toes in the back into the floor. So like so. Squeezing the glutes, bracing the abs, weights on the same side as that back leg. We're going to bring your knuckles towards you, and then we're going to rotate up and away. Or I want you to brace your abs and your glutes and your legs as hard as you can, pressing your feet into the floor, and free up your shoulder to do it again. One more, because I was talking, I wasn't counting. So much for being specific about rep ranges. Here we go. Let's go side two. Rack the weight so its palms are facing you. Lift up and press away. Nice rotations. Good job. I want you to really feel your lower body working. Feel your abs working. One more. There we go. And we'll bring that weight down. Have a seat. You could sit up against something to help you stay upright. I'm gonna push my bench back. Or you could prop yourself up on your hands. Either way, feet are about shoulder width apart. And if you're braced like this, good luck lifting your leg. We're gonna go just for the lifts this first round. I get my foot maybe 2 inches up and off the floor when I'm braced against something behind me, holding me upright. Shake it out, and let's go for side two. It's not a big lift. And the reason for this is when you're propped up against something, or you're not just relying on your hands, I think even the best of us will lean back just a little bit. And that takes our body weight off our pelvis, right? But if you're propped up, you have that weight sitting right on your pelvis. It makes it harder to lift your leg. So you haven't failed, you haven't gotten weaker. We just put you in a different position that makes it more challenging. But also it gives you more support. So it's truly what you can do. So let's come onto our plank position. We're going to start in a high plank. And we're going to start with hand taps. So pretty simple. Tap, tap. And if you want to make that a shoulder tap. And then we'll come down on the floor. We're going to find our side plank position. From your knees or from your toes, we'll do first round from our knees. I don't know if we're going to get to a second round. And let's do 8 leg lifts. Focus on that hip doing the lifting, your obliques holding you in place. And then we're going to arc, foot to the front, foot to the back. 2, 3. This seemed like what we do in our warm-up. You betcha. and 8. Let's bring that hip down. Swing it around to side 2. Same thing. Are we doing more repetitions? You betcha. 6, 7, 8 leg lifts. Then we're going to go for 8 rainbow arcs. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. Bring that down. Let's come cross-legged for just a second and loosen up your hips. This actually feels really nice right now. We are going to do the band work. I didn't forget. And circle the other way. Let your hips open up and relax. Let's find a flat band or the tubing that you've been using. Feels weird to do at the end of a workout. We're going to do that banded hell off press. So wrap the band around one foot. We're going to be in half kneeling. Don't ask me how I forgot to do this earlier, but here we are. So you want to be stacked. Make sure your band is secure. Mine's a little slippery. We're going to press, lift, lean, and come down and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more. 9 and 10. Bring it down. Wrap the band around your other foot. We'll see how that holds. The band snaps, it snaps. Here we go. So you're stacked, shoulder, hip, knee, press, lift, pull. 2. Oh, feels good. Nice stretch. 3. Nice. 4. 5. 6. 'Feels a little different at the end of the workout. My shoulders are tired. 8. 9. And 10. Carefully bring your leg in. You know, my band kept wanting to pull off my foot. The whole time I was doing that, I tried to take it off and I got stuck. Go figure. Okay, we're going to take one hand behind your low back and one hand right at the nape of your neck. And we're going to pull arms in the opposite directions. Going for straight arms. Thinking about being straight up and down to the ceiling, as straight as you can. Do two more. And then switch sides. Nice. Well, three more. Tired arms, shake the head, tired shoulders. Feels totally different doing it at the end of the workout than at the beginning. The beginning, it's kind of like primes your muscles to work. At the end, it's a finisher. You're going to, you can't do any more. Okay, one last move. You can do this, and then we stretch the shoulders. It won't take long. Arm is a post up to the ceiling. Grab that band and pull down. Really focusing on the back muscles, which we haven't done too much back today. A lot of shoulders and arms, but not too much back. Three more. 3, 2, 1. Other way. So the action is your elbow moving towards your ribs. It can be on any angle that feels right to you. But when you're doing that, you're feeling your lats. Hopefully, you're feeling your lats. That's what we're trying to work. Let's do 3 more. 2 and 1. Let's put the band down. Let's take one arm up, reach down the middle of your back, hold on to that elbow, stretch out that tricep, and then lean away. So if you're holding your left arm up, lean to the right or vice versa. Come up, let's switch sides. And come up, let's take your hands behind your back. Pull down and lift up. You do this kneeling, half kneeling, seated, standing, whatever feels good to you. And swing your arms out, just let them relax. And then we're going to catch one arm and pull it across and stretch out your shoulders. Don't let your shoulder hunch up, keep it pulled down. Just take your arm across your body. And switch sides. We make this a little more intense. Come on to hands and knees. Well, it is more intense, but we've done these lots of times. Let's do a cat-cow a couple of times. Let's check in with how your back is feeling. And then we're going to thread the needle. So it's only a little more intense than what we were doing because your body weight and gravity are on top of your shoulder. And a nice stretch across your back through your low back. Take your legs wider if that feels better. Up and switch sides. Then back up on hands and knees. Let's shift your weight forward. Squeeze your buttocks and press those hips down. Pull your shoulders down, lift your chest and neck up. Shift your weight right and left if it feels good, but mostly just let the front of your hips drop. Get a nice stretch across your hip flexors and your abs. And I'm gonna call it there. If you still need to stretch out some more, take some time and stretch. If you need to hit the shower, go hit the shower. And I will be back. Nobody has told me if you want to start on Thursday next week or not. So I will put that out in the email. See you next